to the Buhay region, a Pokemon region
Buhay!
based on the Philippines. This region is the setting for the conceptual games
Also, buhay means life. Uh, yeah.
Pokemon Shine and Pokemon Shade. And just like
Oh,
every previous region, it has its very own starter Pokemon. So allow me to
I love
introduce
the Pokemon.
Leafang, Smoke Crab, and Buboy. As per usual, head to the comments and guess the final type combos for these
No,
Pokemon before seeing their evolutions. Then go back and edit the comment once you've watched
I
the
have
entire
done
video.
this.
No cheating by skipping to the end. I'll be hearting comments who do this for the first couple hours that this video is live. These three cuties would be offered to you by Professor Samp.
It is honestly really funny that the person can actually see that if you have skipped ahead. It is funny. It is really funny to like they know.
Who is modeled after Filipino actress Lea Salonga in her youth. As Professor
Yeah, Leia Salonga.
Sampa is one of the youngest professors in the Pokemon world, alongside Professor Sonia from the Galar region. Her name comes from the Sampaguita, also known as the Sambak Jasmine, and it's
I ate that. I ate that flower before. It was sweet. I don't know why. I like there's flowers that like, can be eaten, but like for some reason I ate like a random flower out because my grandma grew like these flowers, and sometimes like I and there is a shrub flower that can be eaten. Mostly the dew of the flower is really sweet. But yeah, I, I don't know what's my baby brain is like talking about. Like I ate the freaking thing raw. Also, be warned, I will mostly there's gonna be a lot of pausing in this thing for me to do commentary.
the national flower of the Philippines. But anyway, back to the starters. So first let's talk about Leafang, the grass bat Pokemon, a pure grass type. I worked with Fungusmon to create this design and the rest of the starters in this video, so make sure to check out their link in the description. This round friend is inspired by a Philippines pygmy fruit.
That is so cute. Wait a second. He's so cute. He's so small. Wait, do I have that? Do I have that when it's like? Because sometimes they're in my ceiling. Like one of the other animals in my ceiling.
Bat. These adorable little bats are endemic to the Philippines and can be found all over the country.
What does endemic mean? Wanna wait? Hold on. En endemic. Endemic. What? Endemic of a disease regularly occurring within the area community of a plant or animal, native restricted to the certain place. Oh,
Its grass typing, round appearance, and leaf-like nose refer to the Philippine pygmy roundleaf bat as well. Also, Leafang's rotundness and partial brown coloration are meant to emulate a coconut, making it a
coconut
literal
nut.
fruit bat. You can even see that it has seeds as the lining of its wings, with seeds being the main distinguishing factor of
Oh my god, it's me in the thing.
what makes a fruit. Also, the Philippines is actually the world's top exporter of coconut oil, and coconut production plays a major role in the nation's economy. So in my opinion, we had to have some form of coconut Pokemon that wasn't just Executor. As per
Wait, executor is actually a coconut? I thought they're like palm.
most grass starters, Leafang's main ability would be Overgrow. With it being a bat Pokemon, we could give it moves like Bite, Leech Seed, and even Mega Drain to tie in a vampire bat reference. Leafang's wings are mostly for show. They can't actually fly, but can glide short distances. It will climb up high in trees and rest in their canopy, with many tourists mistaking them for some kind of exotic berry, knocking them down and upsetting the Leafang.
Okay. The fact I do this to that means living in a specific area, not outside of it. Oh, okay. I want you guys to be heard. So I will open the chat TTS for you guys. Because this is really hard for me to having one monitor. It is honestly really hard. Really difficult.
Open me on mobile.
Well, you're there now. You can be heard.
And I'll be upset if you don't hit those like and subscribe buttons down below right now. So go do that. Now for our fire starter, we have Smoke Crab, the fire crab Pokemon, a pure fire type. Straying outside the fire starter zodiac theory has blessed us once again with a crab starter. Woo! Smoke Crab has a bit of a unique coloration for a starter Pokemon. That's because it's inspired by a special kind of crab from the Philippines called the Palawan Purple Crab.
Would I eat that? This is just a trigger. Would I eat that? Like I feel like I'd be thrown out of the island immediately. It's so colorful though. I thought it's gonna be the coconut crabs, but also those things are mostly I don't know, I'm pretty sure the crab itself is endangered. Like coconut crab. But they're mostly like camouflage because they live in a very uh in coconuts, like the fallen coconuts. That's why you see there's like for islanders, we see that the coconuts themselves have like a little hole. That means like there was a coconut that lived under there and ate the entire thing.
This miniature decapod is endemic to the islands of Palawan and was actually discovered as recently as 2012. I thought its unique mix of purple and red would be really cool on a starter. Let me know what you think though. Blaze would of course be this Pokemon's main ability, but rather than getting Ember like most fire starters, I would instead give it a new move called Fire Pinch, a base 40 physical fire type move with a 10% chance to burn the target.
As a foreshadowing of me gonna play Pokemon soon.
This is essentially a weaker Fire Punch, which is exactly what I wanted. The thought of this tiny dude giving you a little pinch as a move is just so adorable to me. The smoke puffs around Smoke Crab's eyes actually protect it from getting debris in them when it buries itself in the sand. The smoke will completely cover them, acting like goggles for this Pokemon as it traverses underground. The beaches of southwestern Buhayi are often littered with Smoke Crab. The only way people know this is because of the small plumes of smoke in the sand, which give away their location. With that, we move on to our water starter.
That is so cute. Alright, if I had to guess, uh it is a pig, but like the flower gives it away and I don't remember the name of the flower.
Buboi, the water pig Pokemon, a pure water type. This is the first starter with a name I actually have to explain. Baboy is the Tagalog word for pig or pork. Speaking of explaining names, I wanted to quickly explain the name of
That's why when I say sinigang na baboy, that means pig sinigang. Or sinigang, but the meat is pig. Pork. Pork, I mean.
the region. Buhay in Tagalog means life or living. It can also act as a combination of the Tagalog words mabuhay and bahay, which mean welcome and home. So buhay is a home full of life that welcomes you. And if I mispronounce any of the Tagalog or Filipino related words in this video, video, I am so sorry. I'm trying my best to be respectful based on my limited knowledge
He's doing a good job to actually pronouncing the words.
and online pronunciation guides. Anyway, back to Baboy. This little piggy is inspired by the Philippine warty pig. As their name suggests, they have 4 bumps, or warts, on their face, as well as tusks. So these itty bitty bubbles near Baboy's mouth act as a reference to both. And with it being a bay stage or baby Pokemon, these bubbles refer to how babies will often blow bubbles, also known as raspberries. The hairy backs of the warty pig
There's a term for it? Oh, that makes sense. Also, I have seen that in the wild before. Uh, I went to like story time. I went to my province. My province is in an island. Uh, I saw that in the wild and said, uh, my relative said like, yeah, hey, Pucca, get out, go distance yourself from that pig that, that can one shot you. Like, uy, alis ka dyan. Ba't may baboy dyan, ha? That is not a direct translation of what I just said. Like,
LOL.
Puka, get out of the way. There's a fucking pig.
made for a perfect way to work in these splash-like tufts of hair on Baboy. It would have Torrent as its main ability, and of course it would start with Bubble instead of Water Gun, and would get Bubble Beam a bit later on. Baboy can be found in the swampy wetlands and forested mountains of northern Buhai. They're a bit shy of humans and tend to be
Wild
nocturnal.
boars are
They have a
always
tendency to
angry.
blow bubbles in their sleep.
Fortunately, I, I'm alive. Fortunately, I'm alive. And they're like, eating grass during that time.
Resulting in them being frequently spotted underneath a big pile of
Except
bubbles.
in my
And I
place
want
where
to
they
spot
are very cultured.
They're very oh, because it's domesticated. Not it become domesticated livestock.
you underneath this video, hitting that join button to become a member. Membership to this channel helps me continue to pay the artists I work with for these videos,
I will give a like, then join. Here you go.
and gets you benefits like videos early and even. Let's switch it up and go back to Smoke Crab, who at level 16 evolves into Palabos, the flame crab Pokemon. Yet
Okay, this is unknown territory because I don't know what halabos mean. But it looks cool.
another name I get to explain. Halabos is a Filipino cooking process which entails cooking fresh crab, shrimp, and other crustaceans in
No wild boars here respect the road rules.
Halabos. Have I ate the halabos before? I don't know.
salted water. Sometimes
Imagine
lemon
eating
lime soda
Pokemon.
Imagine eating Magikarp every time. Okay, another story time. Every time, because I watch Pokemon from start to finish. Not start to finish, like start when then I saw
Imagine
Magikarp.
huge farm of Pokemon for livestock.
Oh no. Uh, I've watched Pokemon from the very beginning, and I keep thinking that Magikarp is basically a tilapia. So every time I eat a tilapia, it is just I'm eating Gyarados. Immediately skip Magikarp, go on Gyarados.
is used instead of water for an added twist, which
Imagine
you can see
getting
Palabos
Minimal Tank milk in store.
Oh, oh.
now has some yellow tips to its claws to refer to this. With this stage, its smoke mixed with its longer legs refers to smoked crab legs.
Yum. Now I want crab.
Another very popular kind of crab dish. And the way Palobos' feet come together with its smoky head is meant to give the illusion of a smoking volcano. This design has a little smoke mustache and orange beard-like part of its shell to give
Alright, I didn't know that it was a mustache.
that middle stage, teenager with facial hair type vibe, while
Oh,
giving a familiar, friendly feeling. So, are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
no.
Palabos are extremely friendly creatures, leading to them even trying to make friends with potential predators. Fortunately, it can make a natural smokescreen around them for a quick escape. Unfortunately, though, this can also be activated when it sneezes. Be wary of bringing your Palabos indoors or inside other enclosed spaces. As a bit of an evolution to Fire Pinch, Palabos would learn Fire Claw, a base 60 physical fire type move that lowers the target's speed, and has a 10% chance to leave the target with a burn. And that is definitely a move our grass starter wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of. Speaking of, Leaf Fang at level 16 evolves into Vineki, the Vine Bat Pokemon.
I was pausing this because I want to like explain what paniki means, but I realized he will basically give the definition of it.
Vineki comes from the Tagalog word for bat, paniki, specifically in reference to microbats. Vineki does actually have feet, they are just so small that it prefers to use its vines to latch onto trees and other higher up objects. The vines, as well as its general appearance, are a reference to a very well-known creature from Filipino folklore known as the Manananggal. I'm going to put a blood and gore warning here as there are some pretty gruesome details to this.
My favorite genre in terms of Filipino folklore, the creatures, the myths, and people have seen these out when normally they've seen it when it's like uh they see it out like anywhere. It could be anywhere as long as there's like no, normally where they see it is like in farms and like forest farm, kind of a foresty farm, and they not a lot of people can actually see them, but like there are some that actually have experienced them. I don't know if my mom have seen it. I will ask probably later. She have seen many of things, dwarfs too, like gnomes.
Creature that tie into Vineki's design. So, the Manananggal is a vampiric creature, usually feminine in form, that can separate its torso from its waist and legs, with its
Okay. European. I want to see if a European vampire would actually beat this kind of vampire.
intestines hanging out from the upper half as it flies around, which is what the vines of Vineki specifically refer to, and why it doesn't really have a lower half, as the Manananggal is seen without its legs in most depictions. Okay, you should be safe now. Vineki refers to the harpy fruit bat as well, with harpies being yet another feminine flying mythical
That is
creature,
called
with vines
Striga.
being
Striga? Really? Okay. Give me the definition of striga, because uh I can't tab out to my laptop and I can't really see chat. Well, I can hear you guys. Now, the thing that they gave me as a witch weed. Oh, never mind. I just scrolled down.
Striga is kind of vampire that is more of a monster than a human.
Oh, there's a folklore over here. It's a Slavic lore. Oh. Wait, I'm like, no, that's a different one. There's another kind of monster in Filipino, but I don't know if they will uh discuss in this one.
so integral to Vineki's design, it would naturally learn Vine Whip, and at much higher levels, Power Whip too. I would also give it a new move called Ensnare, where it will lash its vines out at the target, ensnaring them in its grip. This would work like a more powerful grass type version of Wrap or Constrict, being a base 40 grass type physical attack and damaging the target for 1/8 of its maximum health at the end of each turn. This move puts a new spin on a teenage lash out. At this point, I wanted to take a quick aside to acknowledge something. Those who have been following the channel over the last year.
Oh boy. All right. I am so sorry, Prag Magic. I will. Uh. Oh, there's actually plenty. Oh, this. Oh, there's Australia. there. Oh, that's interesting.
For our last middle stage, at level 16, Boboy evolves into Wartide, the title pig Pokemon. This bulky bearded boar now
That's
refers to
so
a different
cute.
type of pig from the Philippines, the Palawan bearded pig, which as it sounds is found on the islands of Palawan and does in fact look like it has a beard.
I just noticed that there's a lot of Pokemons that he made from Palawan. This like the second one now.
Mad respect to this sublime swine from a fellow beard haver. The bubble tusks of this Pokemon now come down to look like some water has gotten stuck in its beard after drinking from a pond. Relatable. The little swirl along its side refers to a specific type of pottery known as Palayak Palayukan. These miniature clay pots
I have made that in my school project. I have made that. They would give us like these orange pots and for us to paint it with, and I painted where it originated from. We call them palayok. 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 We call it palayok. But no, there is a uh we had this tradition before the piñatas. Before the piñatas, like you know that it, in piñatas they use cardboard and like paper. For us, we use this. We actually use this clay pot. Like we put the clay pot high in the air, have a bat inside of the clay pot, have these
LMAO.
candies. Like I'm pretty sure this is much worse than the cardboard ones. It's either the bat goes to you or the clay shards goes to you.
sold at fiestas are used as children's toys to play kitchen with. This ties in well with Wartide being the middle stage, as it's basically the step before the final stage, the miniature version of the thing you'll actually cook with. As I said with Buboy, this dude would learn Bubble Beam, but I would also give it the new move, Burst Bubble, where Wartide fires off an enormous bubble that pops in the user's face. This would be a base 60 special water type move which has a 30% chance to make the target flinch. Waterfall is the only water type move that can flinch, and I think it's time we change that. Speaking of change, let's stick with Wartide, who at level 36 evolves into Borbaroka, the
I'm sorry. Sorry, when I hear Baroka, it is actually a trigger now. Um, Baroka is basically a medicine here. That's why I giggled.
Swamp Boar Pokemon, a water ground type. You probably saw the ground type coming with Wartide being based on clay pottery, but the patterns across Borbaroka's body are meant to be reminiscent of Batak, also known as Patik or Buri. This is a tattooing art form done by the indigenous people of the Philippines. They are representative of tribal identity, kinship,
People actually still do that. The tourists can go to these tribes and get the tattoo from them. I remember, I don't know if she is still alive, bless her soul, but like there is the very old elderly lady uh that does that tattoo themselves to like basically make the culture known. I still don't know if she's still alive or not, but like hopefully.
and act as a rite of passage. A revival of the art has become more popular in recent years. The Cordillera, Lumid, and Sulod people, as well as the Mark of the Four Waves tribe, a collective of Filipino diaspora founded in Orange County by artist L. Festin, all continue to work to preserve this ancestral tradition. The designs of these tattoos were often used on pottery as well, tying back into Borboruca's concept. So let's hop into its name. The Borboruca is a water spirit hailing from northern Luzon. This creature from the Black Lagoon-esque monster was known for its ability to suck up all the water in a pond or lake. It would leave the lake empty with all the fish at the bottom. Then when humans would come to collect the fish, the Borboruca would flood the lake once again, said to release the water out like a fire hose, blasting the humans until they drown, or it would just outright eat them as they struggle to remain afloat.
I was gonna say that man, they're useful, but until like the part of their drowning the humans is or eat them is not. I retract that statement or the thought of it.
Borboruca's already hairy and large appearance refers to this, and now its tusks have evolved to look like the nozzles of a hose, which it will use to fire off hydro pumps like nobody's business. Borboruca are actually often used as partners of firefighters around Buhay for this reason. It can also fire off mud bombs and muddy water out of its tusks, and it would get a new move, Mudslide, a base 90 special ground-type move which would lower the target's speed, as the target would struggle to find its footing in the slick of mud Borboruca creates through its tusks. As far as its hidden ability, I think Storm Drain would be very fitting with its swamp-draining creature inspiration, and would be a powerful ability for it to have with it being more of a special attacker. Earth Eater is also a good option, but I prefer Storm Drain. A little tidbit about the Borboruca that I left out is that they have a morbid and ironic fear of crabs, which continues
The fucking crab.
to be ironic in the starter's case, as Borboruca is super effective against the smoke crab line. And while we're
Crabs.
talking about them, at level 36, Palabos evolves into Bonalcano.
Yo, wait a second. What? What? Suddenly this crab have a freaking blaster?
Blast Crab Pokemon, a fire electric type. With this evolution, a new
Electric?
crab shell has entered the
Interesting.
villa, the Fiddler Crab. The enormous claw of the Fiddler Crab manifests as this railgun-esque claw of Bonalcano. That is only part of the reason for its electric typing though. As you can see, the smoke of this line has become like a thundercloud with Bonalcano. It also has these bright, almost steam-like parts of its antenna and claws. This refers to Santelmo, a type of fiery spirit from Filipino myth that looks like a ball of plasma. This creature is a personification
Pause. I don't know that one. I have read like a lot of Filipino folklore, and I have
The
seen
railgun
haven't
crab.
seen that. Haven't seen that monster. Yes, it's a railgun crab.
of St. Elmo's fire, an interesting phenomenon where glowing plasma forms around pointed objects during electrical storms, caused by a strong electric field that strips electrons from air molecules. This would happen to ships traveling through storms to and from the Philippines, and is more than likely where the legend began. But Bonalcano's name is where this concept fully comes together, as it comes from Tambano Kano, an enormous mythical crab with power over lightning, said to carry a storm on its back.
That looks so cool. I have to like look back to Filipino folklore now just to read. I've read like it's not that I have read it in the internet. I remember now. Uh, I read it in a book when I went to the library back then when I was a little berry. I've I'm in the library club. For that reason, because the AC is there and also there's quiet time by myself. And I read some books that has pictures in it.
Every time it opens or closes its eyes, lightning strikes, which is another reason why there's St. Elmo's fire coming from Bonalcano's antennas, which were formerly eye stalks in its previous stages. It would absolutely learn Zap Cannon with a claw like that, and would learn a new signature move, Plasma Pincer, a base 95 physical electric type attack. where Banalkano charges up energy in its claw, and rather than firing it, it grabs and crushes the target in its enormous pincer, like a nutcracker. The target will be left with a bit of plasma residue on their body, making them more susceptible to electric type attacks for the following turn. For a hidden ability, I think that Lightning Rod, Flash Fire, or Volt Absorb could work well given Banalkano's St. Elmo or St. Elmo's Fire inspiration. And Banalkano is meant to be more of a mixed attacker. Lightning Rod would definitely make those zap cannons pack an even better punch. Banalkano is known for its lightning catching abilities though. Electricians around Buhai will bring this Pokemon along when working to help prevent
That would be so useful if Pokemons were actually real. Holy, oh my lord! Because people here have like I have seen multiple towers back to back when I would like go to somewhere like south or north. When it's in the highway, I'm like I see them everywhere.
them from getting zapped. For the final evolution of the Leafang line, at level 36, Vainiki evolves into Spinongal, the Blade Bat Pokemon, a Grass Steel type. This evolution gives Leaf Blade a whole new meaning, which would definitely be a part
I looked at it. Oh my lord! What a beautiful flame. Let me just put this thing in the upper one. Look at these blades. Basically, you have a unshielded uh electric fan.
of its moveset. Spinongal obviously continues the Manananggal inspiration, and with it now being quad weak to the fire type, references the fact that fire is one of the main ways to defeat that evil spirit. With Spinongal being a much larger bat than its previous stages, it
Big
refers
bat.
to the Palawan fruit bat, a mega bat found across all of Palawan, and refers to the giant golden-crowned flying
Oh
fox.
my
The
god.
spin part of its name refers to the spinning saw blade-like leaves of its lower half, which will spin back and forth while flying, looking like some form of dancing. It makes for a useful companion to tree trimmers and landscapers around Buhai. The spinning dance of these blades and
Hold
its
on. I want this to actually fit. Where is your caption setting, sir? And there's the caption. Oh, there's wait. Setting. Stable volume. Voice boost? There's a voice boost. Auto track, subtitles, caption options. Oh, wrong one. My bad, wrong one. That is the wrong one. Font size. Nope, nope. I swear there is something here. Here's font opacity, edge. Alright, font opacity. There we go. So that we can see what's the other things are behind it.
general body shape refer to the queen of the Sinulog Festival, an annual festival held in Cebu City, with a parade full of dancers, floats, and stage performances.
They still do that. Like the festivals here, they still do that, but like there's some like don't do anymore because dear God, look at that. Uh, no wait, no wait, I retract it. They still
The
do that.
golden crown part of the flying fox comes together with the queen part of its design
It's
in
so
the crown-esque face,
pretty.
ears, and hair of Spinongal. With its steel typing and blade-like stomach, it also references the term cast iron stomach, which is someone who
Cast
doesn't have digestion issues no matter what they eat. What's that like? I would love to know. That being said, Sap Zipper could work well as a hidden ability to continue that reference, and the Manananggal is known for how and what it consumes. Spinongal is meant to be more of a physical attacker anyway, though it is already quad resistant to grass, so if we wanted
I remember what the Manananggal actually feeds off. It's actually since it is a female, mostly they are female. They've actually in the same category. I think it's the same category of a succubus, like around like the pa- when you're in paralysis, like something something the monster when you're like paralyzed, and it's I remember how they actually told me this story. Basically, the people who actually have seen it, uh, it is
Like a
normally
toxin or taser.
no, uh, basically how they seen it is they're pretty much a beautiful woman. There is a reason why they cut off their lower uh like their stomach is because like they're just jealous because they've seen another woman that is actually pregnant. So what the manananggal eat is the baby's the mother's fetus. Yeah. Yeah. And there's another thing about it, the fact that the
Like
manananggal,
abortion.
yeah, basically a abortion at that point. Uh, yeah, I the memory I have triggered me that I've seen one of the horror Filipino movies, and I that scene played, and that's why I'm a bit awkward.
They would find a work in a clinic.
Oh my god! Imagine they would actually one of the nurses they're actually a manananggal. They would actually be, okay, we're stepping away from that one.
Something similar for steel, we could give it the new ability, Iron Stomach, which raises Spin on Gall's attack rather than taking damage from steel type moves. As I said before, it will learn Leaf Blade, and Steel Wing is definitely on that list too, but it would also learn the new signature move, Brawn Mower, a base 85 physical steel type attack which clears any terrain effects from the field and does extra damage to fighting types. This is basically a steel type equivalent to moves like Ice Spinner and Rapid Spin, while giving it a way to combat one of the main types it's weak to. And the pun was just too good to pass up. I just want to take a moment to say this has got to be my personal favorite group of starters I've made thus far, with Spin on Gall being my pick of the bunch. Let me know which one you would pick though. Now it's time for my favorite part of these starter videos, where I explain the group theme. Each of these starters has a very clear mythological basis, but each myth comes from a different section of the Philippines, with the Tambokano
That makes a lot of sense now.
coming from the Malayan people of Mindanao, the lower section, the Manananggal being widely recognized across the Visayan region, the middle section, and the Berberoka stalking the northern part of Luzon, the upper section. Though they all make reference to the fourth section of the Philippines, Palawan, with the animals they are inspired by.
I knew it. We might as well like they might as well put a region and it's just called Palawan.
I wanted to try to represent all of the Philippines with this region, so I figured the starters were a good place to start. But y'all know me, you think I would just stop there? One aspect the Philippines is known for is a large sense of cultural pride. So each of these starters represents a different aspect of culture that I've labeled the 3 Fs. The Spin on Gall line represents faith, the system of beliefs a culture has, with this mon representing an enormous festival celebrating Santa Nino, aka
I remember that there is it's not actually a festival, but like a day of worship it's like a few days ago. Yeah, it was a few days ago. So there's apparently 300,000 people who went to that area just to touch the statue, get blessed, get lucky, basically. So yeah, like it's everywhere in that. Wait, it's basically plastered when I watch YouTube. Like every news is basically that day. Thank God I didn't went out in that one. I will be stuck in traffic.
aka Baby Jesus, with Christianity being a major religion across the Philippines. Though that was very unfortunately brought about from Spanish colonialism, it is still an interwoven
380 years, by the way.
part of their culture. Other parts of Filipino culture and history are celebrated at these events as well, but I wanted to acknowledge the large Christian influence across the country, while also acknowledging the reason it came to the country in the first place. The Banalcano line represents the second F, food, with palabos' name coming from a common Filipino crab dish, and the entire line
We call. Okay. Filipino lesson. A We call shrimp hipon, which is which is very funny because it is if you remove I from the word and change it into a, it's just hapon, which is basically Japan. Uh, but we we call the shrimps hipon, Hipon. We call crabs alamang, alamango. Well, yeah, alamango is the crabs. We call the mussels tahong. I I know this because seafood is actually my favorite food out of the meat section. I don't think the seafood it requires like in the category of the meat section. It has a category on its own. I remember now. God dang it.
essentially being smoked crab. The Borbaroka line represents the third F, fun. F is for friends who do stuff together. With each of its stages representing different kinds of children's toys. Buboy is a bubble blower, Wartide represents the Palayak Palayukan as I said before, and Borbaroka with its special tusks is a water blaster. But
I thought it's just the patterns. That makes sense.
Yukon, as I said before, and Borbaroka with its special tusks is a water blaster. But those are the starters of the Buhay region. Thanks so much to our incredible members for going.
Oh please don't. When I hear like thank you for watching, I'm like, oh my god, I had to look. I had to look if like it's already done. I'm like, god damn.
Look like. Hey everyone, Brandon here. And in my own region, Buhay, there are a variety of Pokemon to answer that question. For instance, we have Dorabao, the cute calf Pokemon, a
Ah, look at it! Look at the freaking thing! It's so cute!
pure normal type. I worked with Fungusmon to create this and the rest of the Pokemon in this video, so make sure to
Right, like after this like batch of Pokemon, I'm pretty sure I will leave everything. Uh, I will leave everything in the description. If I manage to make this into a video, I will leave the videos in the description. And for us, we're just gonna watch till the very end if we uh got we hop con in Discord.
check out their link in the description. This little cutie is our early root mammal for the region, and is inspired by the iconic Carabao. This is a
No, I was about to say like There's some of them are actually still alive, but no, actually it was a tamarau. A tamarau is almost extinct. There was like 20 something ish.
Swamp type water buffalo native to the Philippines and is considered their national animal, symbolizing hard work and resilience. You could say they really care about it.
No.
Having a Carabao Pokemon was an absolute must, and I thought what better way to represent it than with the most common Pokemon in the region. Also, we just had the little piggy Lechonk as our early root mammal in Paldea, so having a calf along with it makes sense. Slowly but surely, my barnyard homage is coming to fruition. Dorabao have a thick hide that makes them surprisingly tough despite their small stature. They can thrive in most habitats, which make them a common sight while traveling through Bohai. At level 20, Dorabao evolves into Arabao, the Mud Moo Pokemon, a normal water type. But Brandon, I hear you comment, if it's the Mud Moo Pokemon, why is it normal water type? An excellent question, dear commenter. Well, firstly, Carabao
Oh.
are a type of water buffalo. As such, they are in the water fairly often, especially given their diet, which is mostly made up of aquatic plants. And they will even graze underwater in times of flooding. Where the mud aspect comes in is with Arabao's muddied form. It takes this form thanks to its ability, Mud Caked, which activates when Arabao uses a ground type move, or a ground type move is used on it. This turns Arabao into the normal ground type and adds all this bulk to it, increasing its defense stat as well. And yes, it does become mud caked up. Carabao tend to wallow in mud to cool down and to protect their skin from the sun and insects. But the sight of a mud-covered
People use them. People used carabaos to actually group. Instead of like the machines in the West, or I don't know, in the privileged areas, people use carabaos to like till the rice fields, like harvest. Yeah.
Carabao could also refer to their use as draft animals, pulling
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
sleds or carts for plowing fields or moving cargo. Actually, that's where Arabao's name comes from. Arable
I have ridden that thing. Not on it, but it's like getting pulled by it.
means land fit for growing crops, which Arabao itself creates with its ground type moves. The pattern of Arabao in both its forms is a reference to the many festivals across the Philippines which celebrate the hardworking Carabao, but specifically it refers to the painting of the animal done in the Carbo Festival in the city of Vigan. As a vegetarian, that's a city I want to live in. They paint the Carabao with all kinds of fun and interesting colors to pay tribute to the hard work of the farmers and the animal itself. So you can think of the mud covering Arabao as the paint in this situation. And mud painting is a medium of art, so there's that too. To my Filipino viewers, I hope I did your big bovine justice. And you can do me justice by
I'm sorry, I have to skip ahead.
naturally, next we have to talk about the early root bird of the region. And that title is held by Weisiu, the collector Pokemon.
See you. See you.
Normal type. This shy-looking little chick is based on the Philippine duck, or more accurately, a Philippine duckling, which is a fairly common dabbling waterfowl. The twigs and colorful leaves you see amongst its design are where the collector part of its category comes in. Weisiu thinks that it's a bit of an ugly duckling, so it will adorn itself with things that are shiny, colorful, and just generally
They're not ugly. It's so cute.
pretty in an attempt to make itself more appealing. In fact, it can go a bit overboard, becoming a greedy hoarder, even going so
Oh.
far as to steal pretty things from others, bringing them to its stash for later use. Weisiu's name comes from the Tagalog word sisiu, meaning a bird chick, and also we, as in small, not the other thing. It also joins the Palindrome Name Club. At level 18, Weisiu evolves into Batak, the False Colors Pokemon. Rather than collecting shiny things like its previous stage, Batak crushes up various berries to dye its feathers vibrant colors. It will tout its dyed feathers around braggadociously, and will attack those who don't notice or compliment them. It will also taunt other bird Pokemon whose feathers aren't as colorful, which more often than not will lead to Batak reaping what it's.
So is it actually just like a peacock? Yeah, basically a peacock.
This gaudy Pokemon is inspired by the Philippine Trogon, Itself a very brightly colored bird that is endemic to the Philippines. With this being the middle stage, Batak and its dyed feathers is kinda giving a kid badly experimenting with makeup look. The dyeing of its feathers is inspired by ikat dyeing, a technique found across Southeast
Oh.
Asia. It's a form of resist dyeing, so only certain parts of the fabric are dyed, much like Batak only has certain parts of its body dyed. There is also tanalak, a form of weaving done by the Topoli people of southern Mindanao, using ikat dyed threads. The cadence of the word is similar to Batak, though it isn't directly part of its name. Speaking of, Batak's name comes from Batak na Batak, which is Tagalog slang that basically translates to a tryhard, also known as
The fact that the word is actually translated to try hard. Okay,
Hat.
I will use that to my friends.
someone who's doing too much. The only way for Batak to evolve is to accept itself and its true colors. After hitting level 32 and getting hit by water type moves 20 times to wash off the dye on its feathers, Batak will evolve into a Darnoble, the true colors Pokemon, a flying rock.
You can't hear me. You can't hear what I'm gesturing. I forgot about that. But I love this design.
Rock type. Having this subdued yet still beautiful coloration, this Pokemon truly thrives. It sings with a voice that can turn things around it into stone. This is actually its ability, Rockstar, which changes sound-based moves into the rock type.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Prag Magic will actually will explain why. But there is a story that is more so a literature in Filipino now, and been like studied, like it's required to have when you're studying in the Philippines during like high school, and sometimes we do a play of it.
La liquid voice. A Darnoble itself is inspired by the Philippine peacock pheasant, which males have this gorgeous blue in their plumage, while also mainly having brown, black, and white feathers to really make those blues pop. You can see a Darnoble still has the colors of its first two stages on its talons to acknowledge how it got to be at this stage. This entire line has a bit of a slant on the ugly duckling storyline, but the storyline here is more so based on the idiom insecurity breeds contempt. People who
Oh.
feel insecure in themselves will often take that out on others. But when you can find acceptance within yourself, you become beautiful inside and out. There's a lot more nuance here, obviously, but for the purposes of this Pokemon, that's the story. An insecure duck becomes a gaudy and rude bird covering up its feathers
Less
that only
majestic
evolves when it
Piglock.
shows its true colors, becoming a graceful pheasant. While this might feel a little all over the place, it all ties into one central concept that has to do with Adarnoble's name. Both the Adarna and Noble parts are inspired by the Filipino tale of the Ibang Adarna. Three princes are tasked with finding
Yes.
the Ibang Adarna, a mythical bird whose song can cure diseases, after their father falls ill. The first prince, Don Pedro, is sent, who is greedy and wants the crown for himself. He finds the bird, but it sings him to sleep and then turns him into stone by pooping on him. Brandon, you're 32 and you have a child. Grow up. Anyway, Don Diego, the second prince, is sent next, who tries to brute force his way into capturing the bird, ignoring his brother's mistakes, causing him to suffer the same fate. The final prince, Don Juan, is patient and kind. He heeds warnings about the bird's enchantments from a local hermit, and is able to successfully capture the bird, freeing his brothers from their stony fate and eventually becoming king himself. And you could become like royalty on this channel if you hit that join button to become a member. Membership
Yep. Basically, that happened. So there is it's been I have read this plenty of times now. Ibang Adarna is really something. Getting pooped on and getting turned into stone. Wow.
artists for their fantastic work. So any contributions you can make to this channel are greatly appreciated. So each stage of this early root bird line represents the princes in order. Wisiu is Don Pedro, with it being greedy and hoarding pretty things. Batak is Don Diego, who tries to brute force its way to beauty by dyeing its feathers. Then obviously that means a Darnoble is Don Juan, accepting the mistakes of its past to become the final stage of the line. Patience and understanding, the qualities that led this prince to victory. On top of all that, the Philippine Trogon is actually nicknamed Ibang Adarna, due to its vibrant plumage. And the poet that Ibang Adarna is attributed to went by the pseudonym Husang Sisiyu. This entire line is very layered conceptually, and I quite like it. Now we have the early root mammal and the early root
I
bird,
also
so
like
naturally next we need to talk about the early root bug. So
Bug.
here's Sumpupa, the pupa Pokemon, a pure bug type. This little grub-like buddy can be found buried in the ground around Buhai. The only sign of them are these little hairs atop its head poking out of the earth. They will hide in plain sight at farms, eating the crops while hiding amongst them. Ginger roots seem to be their favorite meal, as it's the easiest for them to hide near. Sumpupa is inspired by the larva of the coffee white stem borer. This kind of beetle can be found all over Southeast Asia and is a blight to coffee plants everywhere, as the larvae bury themselves in the stems of the plants, as their name implies, making them incredibly difficult to control. Sumpupa gets its name from sumpa, a Filipino word that means curse, as the stem borer is a curse to any plant it digs into. But that becomes a bit more literal at level 13, when Sumpupa evolves into Mambor, the curse Pokemon, a bug ghost type. Mambor are more than just
Wait, I want to pronounce that.
Mambor.
Mambabarang. Mambabarang.
The curse Pokemon, a bug ghost type. Mambor are more than just a pest to farmers. They will curse whatever plants they eat from, which infects the area around it, becoming a straight-up blight upon the land. Obviously, Mambor is still inspired by the stem borer, but its name and design are inspired by the Mambabarang, a type of sorcerer from Filipino myth which uses insects in their magic. Well, they aren't actually insects, but instead are little malevolent spirits that take the form of beetles, centipedes, spiders, or cockroaches. The Mambabarang are said to feed these spirits ginger root, hence why Sumpupa looks like one. So this next part is a little gross, so just be wary going forward. The Mambabarang will send their bugs after the recipient of the curse, in which the insects will crawl inside the target through whatever is the easiest orifice, just like the stem borer larva does with plants. The curse will then try to break free from inside the target, resulting in boils and other diseases to form on the skin. It's said that the sorcerer will tie a little white thread around the ankles of these spirits. If the
Alright, pause. What if it's a D&D character? Is there, like, we'll talk about this later. I will want a D&D character around this.
thread comes back red in color, then the mission was a success. But if it comes back black, that means failure. This is why white, red, and a bit of black are featured in its coloration, and why its beard ties around its ankles. Speaking of, this beard is a reference to evil sorcerers, such as Saruman from Lord of the Rings. An important thing to note is that while the Mambabarang certainly uses malevolent magic, back in the day that magic was most often pointed at Spanish oppressors. So, based, I guess? But let's keep things in the realm of the arcane with this next Pokemon, Tarsier, the clairvoyant Pokemon, a pure psychic type. This primate of premonition is inspired by the Philippine Tarsier, a very iconic animal to the Philippines and Southeast Asia. They're known for their large...
They're very small. Like, if you close your hand, that's how small it is.
dazzling eyes in spite of their smaller frame. This animal was begging to be made into a cute little Pokemon, and I am so happy to deliver. When seeing this animal for the first time, I just had to know, what do you see with your special eyes?
My brand!
But the first thought that came to my mind, of course, was the future. So we made Tarsier's eyeballs into enormous crystal balls. The coloration of said crystal comes from that of alum, a hydrated double sulfate salt form of aluminum. Alum is used in the Philippine divination practice of pagtatawas, where alum is placed in heated water, and the shapes created as
Oh, the shaman. Okay. Shamanism. Pagtatawas.
a result of that are used to determine if a person has some form of affliction or psychological disorder. This is known as a form of eryctomancy and is done by an albulario, or a local folk healer. With this, they can supposedly detect the presence of dwarves, demons, or other spirits also known as anito, that may be causing the affliction. Honestly, the name Tarsier just came to me, and I built the entire concept around that. Before we get to the last mon of the video, I wanted to take a moment to mention there are a few Pokemon from my India-based region, Devar, and Turong respectively, thing as the Philippine pangolin. He ran in stalagmite. Last but not
Oh,
least, we have the Pika clone of Buhai. So allow me to introduce
Pika.
Shokumi,
Ah,
the
that's so
growth guard
cute.
Pokemon.
It's so cute. Oh my god. And Izumi.
An electric grass type. This adorable little nugget has a surprisingly complex set of inspirations. Firstly, it is both meant to look like a grain of rice, while also looking like mochi and the mochi tree version of
Ah.
the Yuki Usagi, which are commonly sold in Japan. The Yuki
Ah.
Usagi itself is said to pound rice into a sweet treat with its powerful hind legs, hence the association with mochi. So very Japanese for a Philippines region so far, but that's where the rice part comes in. There is a totem used by the Ifugao people of northern Luzon, known as the bulul. This carved wooden figure is stored alongside rice in a home or in granaries to protect the rice and bring about a plentiful harvest. They are also associated with healing, and wouldn't you know it, in China, the Yuki Usagi, instead of pounding rice into a sweet treat, pounds it into medicine,
Looks like
a tool
plushie.
for healing. The animal this Pokemon
I want a plushie. I want a plushie on this one. It looks so cute. It's staring on my soul.
is inspired by is both a rabbit, but also the common house mouse, which can be found in homes all over the world. And where do rodents mainly hang out? Wherever there's food, just like the bulul. So put that all together in a cute little package and you have Shokumi. Its name comes from Sho, the kanji for protection, Shoku, the Garaiga word for shock, and Nezumi, the Japanese word for mouse or rat. But when put all together, it sounds like Shock Me. Some final things to note are the Pokemon Company actually made an official Yuki Usagi Pikachu plush, and Pikachu was originally designed
Ah.
after
Suddenly, why we're in Japan?
Daifuku, another type of rice dish. So this entire concept just comes together so nicely, and those are some Pokemon of the Buhai region. Thank you so much to our
All right. w- I'll uh I will do I will copy and paste the link into my Discord. Well, technically, it is somewhere in it's somewhere in the Isekai channel. I will paste it again. There is we're gonna end here because I want to basically watch more Filipino memes, I guess.